guys, this is RLC321 Fantastic Plastic back again with another Knightrider update build bahoozle. So I'm just test fitting some parts so far, and as you can probably see, it's starting to come along. It certainly is. Now luckily down here I don't need to drill any holes because I can actually pull the wires that are going to attach to this, the SMDs. I'm going to try and see if I can just glue them onto the front here, because when you have the bonnet on, and let's put the bonnet on, there we go, put the bonnet on, and then the front piece like that, you're barely gonna see anything there. So all you're gonna see is the flashing lights that are gonna go by, because the bonnet has got a bit of a lip to it. So that's good. That's good. That's just what I want. It's a bit of a pain in the backside to actually fit. I've had to cut a little bit off of this side here and the same on the other side just to get it to fit, because it just would not go on at all. And even then, even now, I have to pull it apart a little bit to get it to fit. Also, this part here, actually let me take it apart and I'll show you, it'll probably be easier. And there we go. That out. There. Right, so this part here is actually supposed to go all the way up the top, right there. But when I did that, it interfered with putting everything together. So I've just snuck it down ever so slightly, and it fits in just perfectly, just right. So it's ever so slightly down, kind of even. I hope it's even. I think it's even. I've glued on the wheels, so they're not moving at all. So I'm pretty much done with the engine and everything like that. So now it's just the, as I said before, we're just going to concentrate now on the interior. So just doing a bit of a test fit, make sure everything is hunky-dory. I might want to repaint the actual body part and this here, just because it's got very slight orange peel. I don't know if we can zoom up to that, and dusty. It's got very slight orange peel on it, so I want to take it back to the bare plastic again and basically do it all over. So I'm going to be doing that. As I say, I'm not doing any more pipes or anything. It doesn't need it. This part right here is supposed to go here, but again, how this part fits in, for some reason this will only fit like that. Out there. Okay. I think it's actually supposed to go kind of like that, but again, it doesn't. One, it doesn't fit, and two, it's covering over the sticks, the gear lever thingamabobby, and so I don't think it's actually supposed to sit there, because if I put a seat in, it looks to be a little bit too close. You know, and especially where the gear shift is. But while I was testing things, that's why I think here fits so much better. And if I just push it over just a little bit like that, yeah, I think that's a lot better fit. And obviously once everything's in and glued, it's going to be fine. At least I hope so. Plus, what I will also need to do is drill out just a couple of little holes here for the LED. So I want, let's work this out here. For the LED wires, so I'm going to need like wire hole there for the LED wires to go through on for these two, so because I'm going to have one there, and I'm going to have one just here to light up that screen. Actually, thinking about it, I should now be able to cut these down a little bit just to get it smoother. There we go. So a couple of LEDs in there, and then I'll maybe put something over the top of it to cover it up, or put some tulip on it. I'm not entirely sure yet. Put some LEDs in there, LEDs for the back here. So I'm going to need a small hole there and a small hole there, just to put the wires, through on these ones. Okay. So what I'm going to do now I know I've got all that all kind of sorted, I'm trying to figure out where things go. So this part is not going to go on, because it's just going to get in the way. So I'm not worried about that. As I say, it's not going to interfere with how the kit looks. Let's say, because I'm not lifting up the bonnet anyway, so you're not going to look at the engine, so it's pointless. Absolutely pointless. So, right. So we've got that. We've got these LEDs. So I was thinking of having one there, one there. Or would it be easier if I just have one in the middle and then this one over here? Just trying to think of that because that would probably light up both of those, and then with the light from there lighting up those two screens, and also the ambient light as well. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Yes. Yeah, that's what we'll definitely do with those, because I think that's going to be a lot better, and it's going to minimise on the wiring as well. And I can actually put these two wires, these together, wire these up together with each other, and then just have one wire coming out. So I don't need two wires holes, I just need the one. Okay. So, because before I do go too much further, obviously I need to make said hole, and let's think of the best place. Let's have a look. That's going into here like that. Oh, hang on. Think this through a little bit. No, that's not going to work, actually. Because if I'm putting it to where I want to put it, which is there, because effectively it's going to be gluing onto this part here. See, this is a pain in the backside. So I apologise, because this may be quite a long video now. I hadn't intended it to be, but it may turn out to be. So how about can I move it forward just a little bit more instead of having it all the way forward? Right, I'm gonna have to look into this because I'm having trouble how to figure out, because this is, oops, daisy. I mean, I can get LEDs in there, not a problem, but it's figuring out the best way to get the LEDs in, because having this where I need it to be, or where I planned on having it, isn't gonna work. So, I mean, this is where it technically should be. Like that. That's where it should be, but as you can see, you can't even see the gear shift, and I don't think it was like that. So I'm going to do some research and find out exactly how far in or back this thing is, and go from there. So yeah, leave it with me. I'll bring you guys back in a bit. Okay, I'm back. Right, after a bit of research, yes, it is supposed to be like this, where you can just barely see the handle. So I should be alright with the original thing I was going to go with, and that is I could put a LED strip. Hang on, where is it? There it is. There. LED strip about here. And that should light things up. I may get a bit of like glare or whatever you want to call it, but that'll be fine. The only other thing I'm noticing, I'm not liking what's happening here, so I may have to fill those with something or other, because it's not going according to plan, that one. So I may have to dig those out. Just because it's just not it's looking a mess, and I don't really want it looking a mess. There we go. Now the trouble is, how am I going to put the LEDs? I need to do something here, because it's obviously it's a TV screen. So I need to do something with it. The principle of the PVA glue would have been fine, but it's just not. It just wasn't working. It kept sinking in and sinking. I put like 5 layers in there, and it just kept sinking in. And I don't want to put putty in there, because then that will spoil the effect. Yeah. So, I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with that just yet. But the LEDs, I think I can go ahead with using this now. And just kind of like have it, not there, but kind of like over here. So it's at an ever such a slight angle. Oh no, do you know what, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to do, well, my original plan. Go with an LED here. One there, and then one over there. Yep, I'll go with that original plan. And then, because that's going into here, and it's going to be at a slight angle, angling upwards, everything should be okay-ish, I hope. Yep, it should be okay. So we're going to go with that. So, right, so got these. That needs to be painted as well. They need to be painted. They're going to be beige. They got to be beige, so I'm going to have to paint that beige. And then I need to paint this black. But then I've got this other piece. Where'd I put it? Here. Right there. This piece. It's supposed to go somewhere here. but it leaves a gap. I mean, not that you're going to see much of the gap anyway, but it does leave a noticeable gap there. And I suppose it could be alright. Yeah, I suppose it'd be alright. I mean, the Americans call the handbrake there an emergency brake. Us UK English people, we call that the handbrake, but the Americans call it the emergency brake. But yeah, very good. So it definitely fits like there. So that's the place for it, I guess. Yeah, I suppose I could glue that into place anyway, and then come in a little bit later and paint some of these fine details down here and along here, because it shouldn't get in the way too much, I don't think. Emphasis on the word shouldn't. So let's plonk that in right now. Let that sit there for a bit. Let's get some gluings on the sides. Ow, bollocks. Nope. There we go. There. Okay. We're all good? We're all good, don't worry. We're good. Let's get some painting on the sides here. Paint? Did I say paint? I meant glue. I didn't mean paint whatsoever. No. Alright, so that's now in place. So I think still need to figure out these here. Now, the only other thing I can possibly think of is maybe cut out a sheet. Another no, I don't want to cut another rectangle, and it's not even so, it's still not 100% squared off either. I just noticed, which is a pain. But yeah, still not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it, or what's the best thing to do. I suppose I could fill it with something, but something that's going to allow light through, but it needs to be hard enough to be able to, because I mean, let's say the PVA just wasn't good enough. So I'm going to think about those. Figure that one out. I am going to also need to block off these. Just because it's yeah, because I'm going to be spray painting this black, but a flat black. Don't really want any nasties to get in there. Yes. Okay. So I'm just trying to think of what I could use to put inside there. Inside those. Can't really think of anything that will be any good, honestly. If I am honest. Now I am wondering, ideally, if I cut that down to size, will that be there and in there? And then so one in those two. I'm just going to have like really direct source light right in front of it, which I don't really want. But any cruiser. So lots to think about and do here. Actually, what about that Marscoll? Because the Marscoll goes, well, I mean, as you've probably seen in my Voyager build, that might not be a bad idea. Let me just very quick, I need to put a little bit more super glue down on the bottom here because I've noticed a bit of a gap. And let's get a bit of this accelerator spray on there. So that'll harden that. The reason I was talking about that accelerator spray is that hole is because I can actually use that. I love this stuff, it's brilliant. That super glue there, because when I can paint a bit of black just around there, I'll put a layer of black on it, and that will stop any light leaks from that area. But I mean, the reason I'm not using super glue directly on there is because I think that might be too much. It does go clear though, but it's not flat. I don't really fancy sanding this little tiny pieces here. I suppose I could have a look. Now, do you know what? I'm just going to use a bit of super glue in there. Sod it. Let's look a little bit in there. A little bit in there. Okay. Let's scrape off a little tiny pieces of the excesses. So we've got a bit of excess there, and we've got a bit of excess just here. Right, okay. Now if I get this spray stuff again, that should harden that. And we may be in luck. Has that hardened it? Almost. It looks like I may have gone a bit too far, and that's fine. It's got a slight, oh dear. Looks like I may have accidentally there we go. Let's just take a little tiny piece of that off there. And round you off there. There. Okay. I mean, trouble is with all that spray stuff, because I mean, I know it's excuse me. I know it's a what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. It will harden the super glue, obviously, and there's just a little snip too much, so I'm just going to sand it ever so slightly smooth along the top. But I'm going to need to wash the parts before I paint them, because I don't know if that spray is going to interact with the paint. So once that's fully hard, I'll leave it till tomorrow. I will give it a light sanding just to flatten it off just a little bit, and that should, in theory, be almost like a monitor screens, and then I'll be able to put the decals on top of those. So that's that part kind of sorted. So I'll just let that dry off. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about is this part here. This part goes underneath here. Now you've got 2 peg holes there, right? And it's supposed to go onto here like this. But a few things to note. One, there's no pegs for the holes to go into, and you can only guess how it's supposed to go on. Now obviously I've got the window to go on as well, the glass, so I can't technically put that on just yet, and I don't know if it's going to interfere with the window, but you are supposed to put the windows on first before you put this on anyway. But again, that looks like I might keep that black, because I'm not going to paint these colours here, that beige. Mind you, I suppose I should really, because I think it's supposed to. But yeah, so you got pegs or peg holes, no peg holes. So I'm not entirely sure where we're going to go with that one. The seats are almost ready to be glued together. So I've got the seats are ready to go in. So I suppose I could put those in now, but I want to paint the inside of there first, at least the details, and then I'll put the seats in. So I'm going to give this a going over, and then we go from there. So I'm gonna, not a lot's happened in this video. Not a lot of nothing has happened, but we definitely are getting to a place where things are gonna be happening. I also need to drill out some holes so I can put the I was thinking about this, because of the SMDs, they're really small. I could technically put the SMDs just leaning over and glue them in place along here, because when, as I say, when everything is on, you're not actually going to see those LEDs. But then I suppose it'd probably be better if I come from the bottom anyway, just to make it look better, I suppose. So I need to work out to do 1, 2, 3 holes there, and then 3 holes in there, and then gluing the SMDs from the back probably be best. But I'm not entirely sure what's going to be best to glue SMD LEDs, mainly because they're so small. And the other problem is, I know super glue, I think, can hurt the SMDs, so I don't want to use that. Obviously I can't use plastic glue. I've got 5-minute epoxy, but that's going to take a long time. So the only thing I've got left again is PVA glue. So that's going to take a little while to hold everything down to put the PVA glue in. I haven't glued the steering wheel on just yet either. It's not ready to go, but it is in its place where it needs to be. And then that will fit onto there like that, kind of on there, just like that. And I've also got to think of how I'm going to block the light from going underneath, because I don't want any light going onto the footwell from the LEDs, because once they're in here, I don't want any light going onto the footwell. So I need to figure a way of light blocking the LEDs so that it doesn't go through the footwell, it just goes through them. And yeah, so it's all fun and games. It's all fun and games. I'll be honest, I've never built a car before. I think I might have mentioned that in the very first video, but I've never built a car. I built a motorbike way back when, years and years ago, and it's mainly been sci-fi stuff and and things like that. So building the car is all new to me, because I'm used to test build everything, spray it the paints I need to spray it, put it together. This you can't do that with. You've got a test build, paint parts, and then put it together. So I'm not quite used to how this all works. But I mean, once you put the seat in there, it shouldn't be too bad. Yeah. So we're gonna go with that. Okay, so next video, I'm gonna wire up the LEDs and figure out a way of blocking the light. I might build something that goes just over the top of these. Just very small something or other that can go over the top of them. Or yeah, I can't even use tulip for it, because I need the light to go this way, and tulip just will, because I'm not having it right butting up against the plastic. So yeah, and that's almost dry, but I'll leave it until later on before I do anything to do with that, just because I don't want to just in case it's not fully dry. Let's have a look, see, just to make sure. Do you know what? Yeah. So that's almost dry, but not fully 100% dry, and that's going to take me a while with the super glue. So I'm going to use my Dremel tool. I've got sanding drumming inside there. So the next video, we are going to be painting the main parts, the main color parts, painting the details, putting decals on, and then we will discuss about the wiring of this kit and how we are actually going to go about doing that. So I will look forward to seeing you in the next video. You take care of yourselves. Bye bye now.